right, we are up and running. And there's still some people coming in the room, so once in a while I'll have to admit some people in. But let's do this. This is the Purpose Driven Man Implementation Workshop. What's up, men? We're gonna be doing some work today. It's not just gonna be me sitting here speaking. This is gonna be 50% of this is gonna be you doing some work. So you're gonna need a notebook and a pen. If you don't have that, run and fly and get that right now, because you're gonna be actually implementing. That's why this is an implementation workshop. It's not just me teaching something. We're gonna be doing this work together, sharing some of these stories together, sharing some of these breakthroughs together. And it's all about finding your purpose as a man. So be prepared to do this work, answer some tough questions, probably go a little deeper, darker than you have before in the past. But then we're going to go through, again, so much stuff in such a short amount of time that you're going to need to go back and take what we did today as just kind of a starting point and to get the ball rolling, and then go much deeper, darker on your own time where you do your own personal development, your self-reflection work, because you're going to need to go deeper than you are today, because it's going to be impossible for the amount of time we have here to go as deep as you should on all these different sections on finding your purpose. But it's going to lead, you're going to walk away here with a huge understanding and breakthroughs of really who the fuck you are, what you're capable of, what your true potential is. And that's exactly what this is all about. Finding your potential as a man, living according to your passion that you have, just letting people in the room, and taking those superpowers that you have as a man and applying that to your purpose. Now, when it comes to your purpose, people throw it around all the time, but no one really does this kind of work. They just say what their purpose is, their family or whatever, and they don't go any deeper than that. They don't really ask the real questions. They don't do the real deep freaking work that men need to do. And sometimes that work is in your pain. Men's work is in the pain sometimes. And when it comes to finding your purpose, this is what's going to lead you to never having a bad fucking day. Like, I have a good day every day. Once you know what your purpose is, you start having fun. You start living life again. You start living a life you don't need a freaking vacation from. And you wake up with just a fire lit under your ass because you know what you're doing, and the purpose is the why you're doing it. In the military, we call it the commander's intent. The whoever's in charge and they have something for you to do, a task you need to complete. They send you off on the task, but behind it, there's a commander's intent. That's basically the purpose. It's like, why the fuck are we doing this? Like, there needs to be a reason for doing the thing that you're doing. Otherwise, you just say I want to make $1 million a year. You have no freaking reason for that. It's not going to light a fire under your ass. It's not going to make you get up on 2 hours sleep and go do an 18-hour day when it's needed. Obviously, that's not optimal, but it's not going to allow you to have the energy and the fire under your ass as a man to make that happen. So this is all about how to find your purpose and forge your ideal lifestyle of freedom. And when we talk about purpose, you have to talk about potential. And what is your potential as a man? And Seneca says, it's not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It's because we do not dare that things are difficult. And most men are half-assing through life, just going average, just going mediocre, not putting in this hard work that we're going to do today. Like, you guys showed up on a fucking Saturday, so I give you credit for that. But it's because you are looking to be a little bolder, a little more than just the average dude walking around. That's what the potential is all about. Most men are not living up to their potential, don't even know what their potential is, because they want to play it safe and they want security and they don't want to do unreasonable things and they don't want to be unrealistic and they want to be rational. All these are fucking excuses of men to not go after the hard things, to not go after the life that they want because it seems too hard. It seems too rough. They tell themselves the bullshit stories in their head, the fear, the doubt, the procrastination, and they never live up to that potential because they make those excuses of, that's not rational, it's not realistic, it's impossible, that's not for me, I don't have what it takes, it's not meant for me. And those are all just the bullshit stories that we men tell ourselves in our heads. And I could say this because this is me included. And this is always going to happen. It's never going to go away. And we did a workshop a few months ago on the killing the inner bitch. And that inner bitch is always going to be popping up and coming back. But you're never going to completely eliminate it, but you can learn how to deal with that motherfucker, learn how to weaponize it. And when you weaponize it, That's when you start living as a purpose-driven man. And that's what we're going to dive real deep into. So I want to start off with, when it comes to potential, check out these numbers, that only 67 out of every 100 people set goals for themselves, and only 10 of them actually make plans to reach the goals. And then only 2 of those actually achieve their goals. So think about it, that's 2%, probably even less than that. Less than 2% of people actually achieve their freaking goals. And only 10 are actually making plans to reach goals. And only 67 are even setting goals in the first place. Think about how fucking crazy that is, that that's how we're operating as men these days. I don't know if you ever heard of the GOAT, Earl Manigault, probably the biggest case of wasted potential. And I brought this up because I used to use this with my kids. We do homeschooling, and I had a meeting with them the other day talking about their potential. And it doesn't matter how smart or strong or disciplined you are and how much potential you have, if you don't fucking do something with it, if you don't take that and turn it into a purpose, a higher calling, something outside of yourself. Earl Manigault, they say, was probably one of the best basketball players ever. And he never spent a day in the NBA, never made a dime playing basketball, died at a young age because he got into drugs, got into crime and all this other stuff. He used to play on the playgrounds in Harlem in New York City. And supposedly NBA players would come there and play street ball, and he would not only hang with them, but sometimes just fucking dominate them. Like, he created the whole high flying showmanship, soaring through the air style that we see with like Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan. And the greatest case of wasted potential that probably that you could think of in sports, because they say he was the greatest basketball player ever and nothing, never made a dime playing basketball. So wasted potential is huge. There's a saying that your potential is God's gift to you. What you do with it is, and how you use it is your gift to him. And that's what potential has to do. We all have, especially if you're a man, you're showing up here, and I'm looking over at you on the other screen. So, and if you have your able to put your cameras on, you should put your cameras on. You shouldn't be hiding behind that shit in your little fucking pajamas or your little furry outfits or whatever you got going on. But anyway, you should be realizing that you have this extra bit of potential. You wouldn't be here on a Saturday morning with this group of like-minded men if you didn't want to really fulfill and realize your potential and start operating as a purpose-driven man. It's exactly what we're going to be diving into. And this is what it's all about, the small thinking of someone that wants to be, as men, we want to be rational. We want to be reasonable. We want to be realistic, but not so far on the end of the spectrum where you are so risk averse and so careful that you're just living an average, ordinary, mediocre life and never coming anywhere near realizing your freaking potential. On the other end, you don't want to be totally careless and reckless on the far end of things where you're just thinking, going so crazy and you're being too bold, but you want to blend those two together, the small thinking and the massive, ridiculous, impossible big thinking, put them together. And that's going to be the sweet spot of realizing what your freaking potential is. Because if you're sitting around and waiting as a man for the perfect situation, perfectionism leads to procrastination. It makes you wait. I'll wait till the perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect time to start a business, to get married, to have kids, to get the fuck out of the city that you're in and go move somewhere else. Just take your whole life and change it and move it because you're just not happy in the environment where you are. It's dragging you down, whatever it is. Perfectionism leads to procrastination. And there's also, when it comes to a purpose-driven man, there's a difference between management and a leadership. Men were meant to be leaders. Yeah, you want to manage things, but that is not our real purpose. It is to be a leader. Managing is just dealing with the things that already exist, that already are. And then the leadership of a man is creating what could be. That's where you start tapping into that different level. You start thinking freaking differently as a man and as a leader. So we're going to start off here. And this, I said, we're going to put in some work. We're going to go through it and ask some questions. First, I just want to grab a couple of you, pick a couple of you and ask you just like who you are before we go into this. And because we're going to start now actually putting pen to paper. Before we do that, I just want to know who you are, where you're from, and what are you looking to get out of this here today? We won't go through all of us because there's a good amount of you, but we'll go through a few. Some of that you have your cameras on. Let's start with Larry Goodwin. I know you were the first one there in the room. I saw you in there. So just where are you from and what are you looking to get at it today?
Yes, sir. I'm from Iowa, and I'm just looking to get, like you said, to be a purpose-driven man. Consistency, set the standard, stick with it, be consistent. Consistency compounds, and just get the laziness, the inner bitch out of me, and stay consistent and build a foundation.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. How about Fisher, David Fisher? What's up?
Hey, Steve. David Fisher here. I am in New Hampshire. I'm here today because I need a constant reminder of what I am doing here on Earth. So I want to surround myself with some men today to help me level up. So that's what I'm doing.
Awesome. Let's go with Alistair. What's going on? Where are you from and what are you looking to get at today? You're on mute. You're muted.
All right, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go. We got you.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I just moved to Baltimore, Maryland from Austin, Texas. A former military, former army, and I had a strong sense of purpose back then. But since I've been out of that, I've just kind of lost my sense of purpose. I've kind of found myself going in 8 different directions, and which is the same as going no direction. So just basically trying to find a new purpose and, again, develop and build a consistency and stop settling for mediocrity.
Oh yeah, awesome. Thanks for this the service in as a veteran and hell yeah, I've seen that a ton with military veterans. You have so much structure. You're told when to eat, what clothes to wear on what day, how your sleeves need to be, how you need to walk and talk, and then you get out and it's like, especially, I mean, I wasn't in combat or anything, especially guys that were in combat and then they're just thrown back out to the real world. Like, holy shit, what the fuck is my mission now? Who's going to tell me how I'm supposed to lace up my boots today? Like, because you get in that habit. So hell yeah, I understand it. Tom Lemire, a veteran there also. What's up? What do you hear? Where are you from, and what are you looking to get at today?
What's up, brother? I'm down here in West Palm Beach, Florida, and same type of thing like Alistair said. This communication and confidence and being around motherfuckers like you guys never ends. And just like always having that constant being around you guys and everything that I'm working on. And what he said was maybe I was going too wide and not deep enough with a lot of my things, and just looking to get deeper and deeper and deeper all the time.
Awesome. Hell yeah. And we're not going to go through everyone. Just want to get a few of you to kind of introduce yourselves at some point throughout this workshop. We're all going to be interacting and sharing because there's going to be tons of sections and work we're going to be putting in. So here's how it's going to really work the rest of the way. We're going to just continue breaking this up into little sections. We're going to go and just going to move this screen of you guys over here. And we're going to then go over some questions. We're going to ask some deep, hard questions. You're going to sit, take a minute or two and just come up with what comes to mind immediately. You're not going to be able to go so deep on each of these sections that we go into. And then once we take about a minute or two for you to write down the top of mind things that come to mind for the questions that are on the slide, like you'll have it all in front of you. We'll start out, we're going to go right to this first one right here. And so on this slide, you don't necessarily have to sit and right now answer every question. Just as you're doing it, whichever ones speak to you, whichever ones stick out, those are the ones you're going to write about. Just little bullet points, quick little sentences. But then I'm going to send you the recording of this full thing and all the slides to this. So you should go back one by one and deeply, fucking darkly answer every one of these questions that are on the screen. But right now, I just want you to get an overview. You can kind of see the idea of what each slide is about, what the goal and the intention is of each slide. And again, we're talking about potential right here. We're on a section on potential. Each of them are broken down into several different sections that have to do with your potential, with your passion, with your superpowers, and of course, your purpose. And all these sections are broken into subcategories. We're going to go in, ask these questions of you. You're going to take a minute or two to actually put in the work. You're actually be sitting there writing it right now, and then I'll get either a couple volunteers, or I'll just call on someone who hasn't volunteered yet, because we all are going to interact here. This is all part of it. Putting yourself out there, not being afraid, there's no more time to hide out. The purpose-driven man doesn't hide out. He fucking puts himself out there. He overcomes the obstacles, the fears, the bullshit. Again, those bullshit stories he tells himself in his head. So let's go into this purpose section. And again, I'm going to send you all the notes, all the slides, and the full recording of this. So you should be taking notes. But again, as you're looking at this now, I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to run through these so you have an understanding of them if you have any questions. And then I'm going to let you loose for a minute. Just going to mute it out for a minute or two and let you just put pen to paper and see which one of those speaks to you, which ones pop into your head immediately. Again, it's not like you need to answer everyone right now, but you should go back later. Just want to keep making that clear. So don't think you have to do it. You're not going to have enough time to answer all these right now. Just the overall picture of the potential of what we're asking here, the direction, what comes to mind? What are the glaring things that pop in your head? And those are the things that you'll share if you're the one that volunteers you're called on. So when we're talking about purpose, like where do you need, someone just dropped out because they just heard they're going to have to fucking go deep and dark and they just backed out. Look at that. I just heard someone leave the room. They got scared already because they heard that I'm going to fucking call on you and actually make you do work as a man and actually make you speak up and talk about some shit. But anyway, where do you need to be more bold in your life as a man, and where are you holding back? Like what are you letting stop you, and why? And then think about like what situations in life are you most confident and bold? Because a lot of times when we think about, all right, here's my weakness is, but here's my strength, we take both of those things and that's how we combine them together for that next level, how we uncover new things we never even knew about ourselves as a man by taking what we're good at, but also maybe what we're bad at. Then also think about in what situations are you holding yourself back more than you should be and limiting your potential? And then taking all this together, how can you demonstrate this confidence and this boldness, like starting right now when you start realizing, all right, here's where I need to be more bold. Here's where I am confident and kind of bold. All right, what's holding me back? What's making me what's limiting my potential? And then how can I demonstrate even more confidence and boldness, like starting right now? Like when we get off this freaking call, like you already start implementing that and doing it in a way where it moves you closer to mastery towards the lifestyle that you're looking to live. So just take this overall idea, the intention of these questions together, go through them and see what you come up with. We're going to take for each of these, like literally 1 to 2 minutes. I don't want to just be for all of us to be sitting here in silence, but we are here to do the work. But we have tons of different sections where you're going to be putting working on, so we can't spend too much time in them. So I'm going to mute it out here, give you a minute or two to do the work, and then we'll jump back in and see what we came up with. And if you have any questions anytime on any of these, just jump in, ask a question. You need more clarity on one of the questions, or what does it mean? Just jump in, all good. But let's put the work in right now. Let's get freaking started.
Where are the questions at?
Go to gallery view. It'll be up there.
You don't see the blue screen? There should be a blue screen across the screen, or maybe on your phone you have to swipe over it. You guys seen that main screen share? All right, cool. I thought I was going crazy. Yeah, but if you're on your phone, sometimes you might have to swipe it over the gallery. You might be looking at me instead of the screen share. Did you find it?
Not yet.
Tyson, you know what to do on a phone if you don't see the screen share? How to get to it? Anyone still not able to see the questions?
I still can't find them.
Is that Thornton? Thornton, is that you?
Yes,
Okay.
I got this V thing on there, but he said background.
You're on a cell phone, I guess? You're on a cell phone?
Yes.
All right, let me see if I can figure out which way do you need to get there, because it's on there. You just have to get, there's little sections that change the screen, your screen, to like gallery view or speaker view, and then also a share screen view.
Try swiping on your phone, either right or left. If you swipe left, you probably be able to see it.
Those
Okay,
swipe
just
left, like
left.
get you a date or something. Isn't that the thing? Like you swipe left to get a date on one of those apps or something? Tom Lemire would know about
Tom
that.
does. Tom's only swiping right and left these days.
Nah.
I'll give you another 30 seconds, see what you come up with here, and then we'll jump into it. All right, let's jump into this. And I know you should have a ton to write on every one of these. And again, I'm going to keep drilling that in. Make sure you go back. We didn't come on here just to get started. We came on here to fucking dominate this. So go back and go deeper. And literally each one of these questions could be a paragraph or even a page or multiple pages. And we're going to be going through dozens of these together today, working through them. And we're going to talk about them and then see where we're at and see if there's anything that we need to add into that. See if any other men in the room have anything to add to that. So, and you don't need to go through all the answers, just whichever ones popped out to you, whichever ones you share. Let's anyone want to share what they came up with here so far? And if not, I'll call on someone who's got something. You kind of just wave your hand or unmute yourself.
I'll go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Hey guys, I'm Kevin Sneed here in Richmond, Virginia. My thing that kind of grabbed me was the question, where do you need to be more bold in life? I have a tendency to be a people pleaser and to be afraid of the opinions of others and kind of hold back and not be assertive, be passive. I grew up in a single parent home with my mom. That's kind of how she was, meek, mild, and docile. So it's like I adopted a lot of those traits. And so it's like now, okay, how do I be unashamed of who I am, be unashamed of my purpose, be bold in who I am, and then also hold others accountable as well, and not be afraid of conflict and things of that nature, not being afraid of making my presence felt and making my desires and wants felt. So I definitely need to be more bold and just being who I am and embracing the call that God has placed on my life and not being afraid of the opinions of others, because that has slowed me down a lot, being afraid of what people are going to think about me.
Hell yeah. And awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And that's what we're talking about. That's kind of work that we're talking about. And I've met you in person once or twice, I think. And the first thing is, that's why we do this work. Once you realize what the real purpose is about what you're after and what you're looking for, the opinions of people who don't fucking matter don't matter. It goes right off you. Like, if you saw the amount of hate messages I get literally on a daily basis, like I'm talking some days in the hundreds, it's fucking crazy. It just shows you those people don't have any purpose, because they have time to spend to sit and create fake accounts and send all these hate messages and all this stuff. But those don't matter at all. They mean nothing. No matter what is said, it means absolutely nothing, because I know what my reason is. I know what my purpose is. So the more that you dig into this kind of work that we're doing, the more you'll realize, and we're going to get into that in your superpowers here in a second, about how fucking awesome you are. And instead of being a people pleaser, you'll turn into that leadership role. And talking about making your presence felt, and it's all about knowing who you are and what you're after, but not more importantly, why you're after it. Once you know why you're after it, it doesn't matter. It makes everything else so much easier. And we're talking about really potential at this point, and not giving a fuck what people that don't matter think about you. You absolutely should give a fuck what people that do matter think about you, because those are your peers, your close people in this room, in this group, and your close family and friends that actually matter. Other than that, who gives a shit? Like, rest is it's a joke, and all that's doing is holding you back. And it's also partially an excuse. It's an excuse that I said in the beginning. That's an excuse men make. Someone's popping back into the room. Excuse men make out of fear of failure. What if I don't do it? What if I'm not good enough? We tell ourselves all these bullshit stories, and we label ourselves. I'm a people pleaser. I'm this, I'm that. Like, I labeled myself so many freaking things. And I used to tell myself I'm not a people person. And because I just realized it wasn't that I hated people. I just hated stupid fucking people. So I was around the wrong people. And I love being around people, cool people, awesome people. Like a lot of the dudes in this room that I personally know. Some of these guys, Kenny Nanny has been to my house a few times. We worked out a few times. I've met in person several of you. But I realized that we put these labels on ourselves as excuses, and then we usually got them when we were probably a kid or some traumatic experience happened. And we keep this fucking label well into our adult years, and it really shouldn't even be affecting you anymore. Like, telling myself I wasn't a people person I probably lost out on so much business, so many meetings, so many awesome people and relationships. So that's the other thing. Take those freaking labels off of yourselves and stop letting that shit hold you back. But doing this work today is also going to help when you finally realize what your potential is and turn that into the purpose, it makes it easy to jump up out of bed in the morning and do your fucking thing and not give a shit what other people think. Like literally, that's why I wear 2 different shoes. It's to remind myself every day, I don't give a shit what people say or think about me. I'm living life on my own terms. I know what my purpose is. I know who I'm doing this for, what I'm doing it for. That's really what it comes down to, all that matters. But thanks for jumping in, being the first one. And Sharon, who else has something to add for this section?
Yeah, I'll go.
Awesome. What you got?
Yeah, I just want to kind of piggyback off that a little bit. You know, I always thought about before what other people thought. And like I said, people didn't matter. So I was doing the things that wasn't helping me be successful just to please them and get them what they wanted. And that just holds you back and holds back your potential, holds back your confidence. And then again, you just get stuck in that rut of not being confident, not being consistent because you're trying to please them. And then I've done better about that, getting away from those kind of people and getting around the positive people to help me be more successful and stick with that confidence and consistency factor and do better for myself. So again, it's just about sticking with consistency compounds, not being lazy and getting rid of the excuses.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Good stuff. And that's pretty much how this is going to go. We're going to go through some sections, talk about some stuff, share some stories, and then put in some work on these different sections. So that's a awesome start right there. Appreciate that, Sharon. Let's keep rolling through this. And let's now think about your strengths and weaknesses. Here's something crazy. I was in a room with like 30 or 40 men just like a week or two ago. And I asked them, one guy, what are your strengths? Like, what are you really good at? What are your superpowers? And he couldn't tell me. He's like, was just giving really generic, basic answers. He really didn't even know himself. And if you don't fucking know yourself, you don't even know what you're good at, what you're bad at, what your own character is, and you don't know it deep and dark inside and out. Like, how the fuck could you know what your potential, realize your potential, and how could you live according to your purpose? Of course, you're going to be worried about what other people think because you don't even really know the true self. So let's talk about your strengths and weaknesses and start thinking, all right, what are your, just right now, just write them out real quick. What are your biggest strengths? What are your biggest weaknesses? Just scratch them down. You should know. And if you don't know it again, you're going to put more work in later, but just scratch them right down. What are your biggest strengths? What are your biggest weaknesses? Just take a second to do that. Just take you 30 seconds. You should know for the most part what most of those are. Again, we still have a ton to get to, so we're going to roll through some of these kind of fast, especially little short ones like this. Who's got some off the top of their head? Just what are your strengths and weaknesses? Who wants to share it?
I'll go.
I got one.
I think Thornton was the first one. I think Thornton, you said it. Let's hear it. What you got?
Strengths, dependable, man of my word, confident. My weaknesses would be and it just came in my mind. I am a procrastinator to myself. If that makes any sense.
What do you mean by that to yourself? Explain that.
Like, I'll do a lot of stuff. If someone asks me to do something, I can do it. But to myself, I'll have like 1,000 things. Maybe say like wash clothes, whatever the case may, cut grass, whatever. And I procrastinate about doing it for some reason.
So other people, you're putting yourself last pretty much. You're putting other people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it. And yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being selfless. Like as a man, and certain times you should put people above yourself. But when you go so far on the end of the spectrum of selfless, you start losing yourself because you're selfless. Think about it. That's how the far is. You do want to be selfless, but you also want to be selfish. but you don't want to go too far on the end of selfish because then you just become an asshole on that end where it doesn't care about. So combining those two together, selfish and selfless, putting them together, that's where you find that self synergy and that sweet spot again of that purpose-driven man. And it's like men think, all right, I have to take care of myself first. They go far on the end of selfish so that they think because they need to take care of themselves first so they could take care of other people. And then they go and train for a marathon, go to the gym 4 times a week, and then go to jujitsu, and then they do their personal development and their reading and their meditation. They realize they're now neglecting everyone else because, I've got to take care of myself. I got to be selfish so I could take care of my family. But that's too far into the spectrum. What you're saying is the other end, those two need to blend together. Don't lose yourself in being selfless, but then don't course correct by going too far to the other end. But I got you. And then procrastination to myself. I hear you putting yourself last. Let's keep this rolling. Tom Lemire. So you're jumping in. So what do you got? What are the strengths and weaknesses?
It's the weaknesses in the same realm. I'll sometimes wait to the last minute for shit. If I have a task and I know I have some time, I'm like, And for some reason, a lot of times my back needs to be against the wall. And then I perform like at this amazing, whatever. And I don't know why, I let the time go like that. And what Thornton said about the procrastination to yourself, I never thought about it like that, but I've done that myself where if somebody else needs something all day long, and then if I need something, I'm like, or like what you said, Steve, I'll go into like a photo shoot with Byron and I'll just be training, doing all this shit and then neglect some other things. So I definitely need work on what you just said. That's real good. Thanks.
Yeah. Awesome. That's what we do as men. We're crazy. So we'll go to one end of the spectrum and get obsessed with it and realize we're fucking everything else up. And then we get a light bulb moment where we say, oh shit, I'm supposed to be doing the other thing. And then our dumbasses, we go all the way to the other far end of the spectrum and we screw shit up instead of that synergistic in between area where we need to be. So that's every one of us, myself included. I get caught on that stuff all the time. And that's what we're putting in this work. So awesome stuff. All right, let's keep this rolling. So we do have a ton to get to. Let's talk about superpowers. Like superpowers is the next level, not just your strengths, like these bigger, complete, like almost superhero superpowers. Like for me, I say some of my superpowers are that I'm the asshole that everyone needs in their life. Like I'm the bad guy. I have a superpower of being the bad guy, that one that someone needs to tell them what they need to hear, not just what they want to hear. And someone that can help people break the cycle and just almost make hard shit easy and fun and make them the impossible help them turn the impossible into the possible by changing their state with discipline and energy and confidence and just being an action taker and just thinking kill, like they're just going to kill the task and kill the fear, kill the doubt, kill the procrastination. And I have a superpower of not giving a fuck. That's really one of my, it bounces off me. One of my first mentors I ever had over 20 years ago when I was before I even opened up gyms in New York, and he was one of my in-home personal training clients. He was way ahead of his time. He was selling these self-defense videos, and he would get so much hate even back then before the internet was really even around because they were saying he's just a fraud and all this other stuff because he was making millions of dollars selling these DVDs and VHS tapes of these self-defense tactics, making millions of dollars before the internet was even really just starting. And he told me as I was starting to get into the fitness industry, he started coaching me on business and a little bit and things like that and building a brand. And it's just literally 20 years ago, at least. And he told me, if you're going to put yourself out there, you need to have, and want to be successful. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to put yourself out there. And if you put yourself out there, you're going to need thick skin. And that is one of the lessons that stuck with me. And I've ridden that wave for 2 freaking decades. Like you need to have thick skin because there's going to be all kinds of craziness going on out there. So that's one of my superpowers, just having thick skin.
Steve.
Yeah.
Just real quick, how would you go about, what are some practical ways that you can go about developing thick skin?
And it goes into like, all right, so when someone on the internet, imagine someone was that Kevin that said that?
Yes.
Kevin, did you know that Bill Robinson, I saw him saying that you were a little bitch and you're just a loser and an asshole. Did you know that?
No.
Do you care that Bill Robinson said that about you?
No.
Because you don't even know who the fuck he is. Imagine someone out there that you don't even know exists that is that doesn't like you or has something bad to say about you. That's the way I think of it. Like those people, they don't exist. They don't even exist to me. Even if I see them and it exists, they don't exist to me because most of them you don't even know exist. And because I know when I wake up in the morning, we're going to get into the purpose section in a second here, but I know what my purpose is and why it's my purpose. And I'll dive into it now a little bit. We're a little ahead of the time. That's in the later section. But so one of my longer term goals is to have my whole family living in like an area in maybe a ranch or a compound where my kids and my grandkids all have their own acres of land and houses, but they're all in the same area, sharing the same space where we can help each other out. You have just a built-in community of your own family members, and seeing my own kids and my own grandkids grow up on a regular basis. Like that's my vision of the long-term, like end of the line future as I'm growing old. That's what I see. So in order to do that, I have to be the type of man today with my kids where they actually want to be living next door to me for the most part. We'd have some space or whatever, your own space, your own life, but like living in the same area and seeing each other regularly. I have to live like that every fucking day right now. So all those other things outside of that purpose don't fucking matter, because someone making a YouTube video about me on the internet that never met me, that I don't even know exist. I've seen YouTube videos that someone made about me a year ago with like tens of thousands of comments. And imagine that. I just saw it recently and it was a year ago. So I never even knew it existed. So, and obviously, how could that affect me? I know that I have this vision of what I want, this lifestyle that I want to have. So when you have such a deep, not like vivid picture of what you're after and why you're after it. And the reason why I'm after it is I'm the youngest of 6 kids. My father was mentally, physically, emotionally abusive. I never had a single conversation with my father. And now my mother lives in New York. I have one brother in New York, a sister in New Jersey, another sister in Kansas, another sister in Florida, and I live in California. We are scattered around, and I'm not on bad terms with any of them, but we're not so close. Obviously, we're all scattered all over the country. And I think what a fucking shame. Like that's because we had poor leadership of a man in our family to keep us together I didn't want to stay there. I wanted to get the fuck away from there. I hate that area it's Rockland County is the name of it. I call it Rotten County. I don't want to go back to Rotten County. Like it's just gloomy and dark and negativity. And there's nothing there for me. It's people dragging you down and holding you back because we didn't have a positive male role model figure holding it together. So this is why I want the kind of vision that I have for my family and my kids. So when it comes down to having thick skin, like how could, like when that's what I want, and the deep, really rooted since childhood reason why I want it to keep our family together, to be the opposite of the way my family just kind of all scattered around, like fuck what some dumbass says about me on the internet that doesn't even know me and I didn't even know he existed and he did it over a year ago. How could that should I be like, oh fuck, now I don't want to do this to my family anymore, I'm just a loser? Hell no. Like that is just, it bounces off you when you have such a high level of purpose. You become bullshit bulletproof, where that shit really doesn't even fucking matter because you have such a deep level of meaning and purpose. And everything I do is in alignment with that freak fortress, that compound that I'm talking about. Everything I do is going in the direction of that, like being a purpose-driven man, like helping other men being a purpose-driven man. Like my son is right here in this room here for this call. And he all my podcasts I do, he's here with me. He helps me prepare for them, helps me record for them. We create a fitness program together. Like every move I make is in alignment with keeping that. So it makes all that thick skin just get thicker and tougher, where it becomes impenetrable.
Love it. That's good. That's good.
That helps a little bit.
Absolutely. That's good.
If I'm gonna, can I add something to that?
Hell yeah. That's what it's about. Anyone has anything to say at any time,
Okay.
Jump in. Hell yeah.
Okay. So what I like to say is basically exposure therapy. The more you're exposed to it, the more of a tolerance that you'll build up to it. Think of it like bodybuilding. So let's just say to build up a tolerance to rejection. How do you do that? By getting rejected, whether it's from women, from dating. And then at first it sucks, but then once you get accustomed to it, it's like after the 100 times, like, oh, whatever. You go out for job interviews or put them out. You get rejected or ghosted. Wait, after a while, it's like, okay, whatever. There's 1,000 jobs out there. I'll just keep applying, keep pushing it. Bank loans. If how to deal with people, dealing with criticism. I used to be, people pleasing issues, always wanted to be liked, but realizing that being respected is a lot more important than being liked. You know, if you're highly respected, then being like that's it's kind of like a side perk. But how you deal with, I used to take a lot of things personally. It affected my esteem. So that, but then I just I realized that the more I dealt with criticism, the more I dealt with antagonism, and then you start to gain an understanding of yourself and the world, and then you understand and analyzing your strengths and your weaknesses. You know, it affects you less. You start to care less, especially as you create your own victories, you create your own successes, you create your own world. For instance, or like the military, when we have drill sergeants, drill instructors, you know, DIs, TIs, whatever, yelling in our faces, screaming at us, you know, to the point where we feel like we're going to cry. And then we get to the civilian world, and someone says something like kind of crass or whatever. It's like, you think that's going to hurt my feelings? I've dealt with people way scarier, you know?
Hell yeah. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Someone just jumping in the room now. Let me let him in. Yeah. And that's I love it. I love what you said. And it's so true. And like around my kids are not allowed to curse, but around like the way I talk around my house. I'm like, if my son's doing something wrong or like something stupid, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it'll literally just be, and he's used to it like that. He will never say that, but one day someone's going to tell him, they're going to be like, you're a fucking loser. You're such an asshole. You're a faggot, whatever they're going to say to him and call him. He's going to be like, whoa, like I haven't heard that shit before. Cause exactly what you said, he's built up that tolerance for it because that's what you're preparing them for the chaos of the real world. So I love that. Like getting the sets and reps in of whatever it is. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So I forgot to tie it to the bodybuilding. You do your sets, you get your reps. And at first, the lactic acid buildup, it sucks. You don't feel like you don't want to lift again. But then, you drive up, you go forward, and then you start working on a progressive overload until you're able to, again, get stronger and build up more. And so then we go back and look back, and you think, I can't believe I used to cry over, curling 20 pounds.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Awesome example. Love it. So yeah, anyone has anything to ever add, just jump right in. That's what this is all about. So let's go into superpowers. What are your superpowers? And from them, think about it from this way. If you're having trouble figuring it out, think about it, right? What separates you from every other freaking human? What's different about you? What sets you apart? What makes you weird? What makes you better? What makes you a freak? And what are your God-given gifts that are given to you that just naturally come to you? Those are part of your superpowers. Like, what are you great at? What are your best talents and natural abilities? And then on top of that, once you kind of scratch down with that, what it is, like, why do you think you even have been given those? Why is that even there? How are you supposed to be using that? And then we'll go into the next section right now. So first, just real quick, take just 20, 30 seconds, just scratch that down. Like, what are your superpowers? All right, who's one person that wants to just really quickly share what those superpowers are you have? Who we got?
I can go.
All right, cool. Awesome. What you got?
So as of now, my superpowers are pretty much around my family. Pretty much I'm the first one to start breaking like the chains from like our parents and stuff like that. So I know my sister's looking up to me, and especially my son and my daughter. These past few years, I've learned a lot about leadership, which is why I'm here, because I feel like I've reached a certain point, and then it's like, okay, like I'm kind of like stuck at a plateau as far as leadership, or maybe even like fear of like taking the next step, because if it comes with more responsibility. But just the voice of reason around my family, and started to see things more of a logical, started looking at life as more of logic instead of like emotional. Because man, when I was looking at stuff emotionally, I was destroying my life. But just that, like just the voice of reason and pretty much the first leader to come out and start breaking chains in my family, I would say is my superpower.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's same as me. If you go back to that last slide, that was the first thing up here, breaking the cycle. That's exactly what I call it, is breaking the cycle, the negative trajectory of your family tree. Like someone has to do it, or else you're then generations down the line and everyone's wondering what the fuck happened. Why are we like this? Like someone has to be the stubborn one and stand up and start, all right, we're going this direction. If that means I have to abandon everyone I know, we this ain't working for the future of our family. So I love it. Awesome stuff. All right, let's go to this next one. So now we kind of uncover, like, talked about what your superpowers are and acknowledge them. Now I want you to ask yourself these questions. You don't need, and we're not going to go over every one of these. We're not going to stop and have to write them down, but these I just want you to think about right now, and then you will again when you go through this and do the deeper work. But start thinking about it. When you know those superpowers, if someone has something they want to add in, then sure, jump in, but we're not going to have to stop on every single section. But are you using these superpowers enough regularly in life? And if you are, how are you using them? And then how often are you intentionally, like, you know that this is your like gifts, your God-given gifts, and the things you worked hard on and things you're working hard on, these superpowers you've developed. How often are you intentionally using these superpowers, and are you using them often enough? And if not, like, why the fuck not? And then not only are you doing them enough, are you doing them as well as you can be doing them? Are you making them, are you improving them? Because just because they're there doesn't mean that they just sit there and don't get better. Like, you should be constantly trying to get better and even better. So asking yourself, all right, am I doing them enough? And then am I improving on them? Am I making them even better? And start thinking about these things. Are you getting better at them? And then how can you use them more? What ways can you demonstrate and weaponize these unique skills of yours and these gifts and abilities and talents in your everyday life and business? So just in your head, and if you want to write it down, or anyone who here is not using, just put your hands up and look at is not utilizing your superpowers enough in life. I'll say shit, I'm probably not even.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we have them, we know what they are, but then still something holds us fucking back. And I think it goes back into some of the things we've already started talking about, but goes back into that purpose, having such a deep, meaningful reason for the purpose. And again, just reflect on these questions here, like these superpowers that you have as a man. How often are you intentionally using them? If you're not using them enough, like, why the fuck not? Like, what is stopping you from doing it? You know, this is who you are. These are your strengths. You know what your weaknesses are. So why are you not using those strengths? And then even higher than those strengths, those superpowers, even more. And then start thinking, and start right after this call, start thinking, all right, how am I going to start demonstrating this on a regular basis in my personal life, my professional life, like every day? You should be utilizing those superpowers every freaking day. So that's on the superpowers things, because I could tell you there is no man living. Someone's coming into the room. There's no man living who isn't capable of doing more than he thinks he could do, and no man living that could do more than he's already doing. We always think we're doing so much. And then as you get more, work on more productivity and go deeper into your purpose and learn delegation and leadership and teamwork and communication and problem solving and all these things, you realize how much more you could actually be doing. So keep that in mind when it comes to potential and superpowers. Then also just ask yourself, again, we're not going to stop on every single one of these and have to write them all out, but just think, like, what do you need to let go of and what do you need to learn in order to start realizing this potential? Like, what's going to need to happen for you to transition? Here's the potential. Here's what I know my superpowers are. I'm not using them enough. All right, what needs to happen? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to learn to start utilizing those superpowers? Because I know that this is the direction I'm supposed to be going in. So let's keep rolling onto this, and it's going to go right here into this purpose section. I kind of already broke down a little bit of what my purpose is, and there's probably a defining moment somewhere. You might not even think of it. You might have to meditate on it, journal on it, reflect on it to realize, when did you really click into what your purpose is and what direction you're supposed to be going in? And for me, it was, you could look back at what led me to where I am in my own life right now, mentally and emotionally and whatever. And all right, I had a fucked up childhood, sure. I went to school and I hated school. I had no friends. All right, whatever. I went to jail for a little bit after high school before I went to the Marine Corps. So all these are things that mold you. A lot of big moments happened in there. Then in the Marine Corps, then got out of the Marine Corps and started my own business. Then opened up an actual location after I was doing in-home training. All right, these are all massive things. So there I am in New York. I'm running a gym. My son is just born, and still it didn't totally click yet. Even after he's born, it didn't totally click until this one defining moment I'm going to tell you about, where I started really realizing how I needed to start doing things differently. So I have the gym open. My son is just born. He's whatever, a few months old now at this point. Me and my wife ran the gym together. We had no employees, just the two of us. So now she's out of the business because she's at home with the baby, the newborn baby. I'm doing everything 7 days a week. I'm in there from like 4 a.m. to like 9, 10, 11 p.m. every day, just getting home, crashing for a couple hours, going right back in. I'm doing all the personal training sessions, all the boot camp sessions. I'm doing the sales, the marketing, the leads, the follow-up, the phone calls, the consultations. I'm cleaning the fucking toilets. I'm ordering the equipment, organizing everything top to bottom by myself. And I'm thinking, and am I capable of doing it? Sure. I could do that every day. I could do that 7 days a week for the rest of my life if I had to, but I know that that's obviously not ideal and you're not going to be optimal that way. But I came home one day, it was a Sunday. I didn't get home till like after 10 p.m. because we were grinding. We're just growing the business. The business was very new at the time, the gym. It's a tough business to be in. And I get home, and usually when I get home, my son, he's a baby. He was already sleeping. I wouldn't even see him. I'd go for a few days without actually seeing him awake. We didn't cross paths of him being awake. And this Sunday night, I get home, and he happens to be awake, and my wife's holding him. And so she hands him to me, and I'm holding him. She's like, I want to take a picture of you holding Tyson because I'm going to tell him and I want him to remember and appreciate how much you did for the family, how much you sacrificed for the family and all this other stuff. And she thought it was like this like memorable like moment that I'm going to like really. But as I thought back, and I didn't think of this moment again until years later, just recently, that was the moment where I kind of snapped and flipped the switch on my purpose. I started thinking, this kid's going to grow up with an absent father because I'm out there grinding, trying to make the millions, building the business and all this other stuff. A kid doesn't care if you're not home because you left. You don't care if you're not at home because you're out at the bar drinking. You're not at home because you're building a business to try and build an empire. All they know is daddy's not home playing Legos with me on the floor or daddy's not at my birthday party. It's all they fucking know. So when she took that picture in that moment, and I still have the picture, I got to find it. I know we have it here. I got to look for it around our house. But I realized that I'm becoming my father, whether it's one way or the other. That's what I was becoming. So I want you to think about what is that defining moment for you. And if you probably maybe won't come over right now, or maybe you do know it, if someone does know it and you want to share it, sure, you could jump in with it. But this is probably something that you need to think, all right, what is that line in the sand where I said, fuck, something needs to change. I need to do things differently, because that's when I was thinking I could do it all. I'm thinking I'm like, I don't need anyone's help. It was I had to subdue my ego and start realizing, all right, I need to learn to become a better leader, a better communicator, learn how to build a team, a better problem solver, so that I can fulfill this purpose, because you can't go after this purpose and if you're not doing all those things, and I wouldn't have been able to. I realized I'm not seeing my kid and I'm really just becoming my father one way or the other. It doesn't matter. An absent dad is an absent dad. So when we dive into purpose, I want you to think of a lot of men are just lacking purpose or feeling lost, or even some of the things I'm writing down notes as some of you were already talking about, stuck in a rut and lacking confidence. Some of the things that we talked about that I've already heard: people pleaser, afraid of what people think, afraid of making those bold moves. Some things that have already been said on this call, and this is what lack of purpose is. These kind of lost in a rut feelings, kind of lost your sparks. What leads you to live in your purpose is living your unique life, being yourself, living a life of freedom, creating your own, I call it your freak freedom lifestyle. And we're going to go into crafting your ideal lifestyle here towards the end of this, once we kind of start wrapping this up. And that's really what leads to your purpose. These things right here: living your unique life, be able to be yourself, not having to be someone else, not having to always put other people first. Again, that selfless and selfish synergy we talked about. Knowing what your purpose is and realizing you can't do it by yourself. You're not meant to do it by yourself. The lone wolf gets fucking destroyed, gets eaten up. Like, we can't make it without other people, without a group of close family members, but also a group of other men. You need that group of other men around you. So a picture from the project, a couple of project graduates here on the call, and we need to find a way of being service to other people. And so let's now dive into, start thinking about, all right, what is your purpose? What are you even here for? Like, what really motivates you in your actions? What is your navigation that keeps you centered? I kind of shared a little bit about mine and why I do it. And then what really like fuels your life, like lights you up a little bit, and why is that what it is? And what are you here in this world to make a difference on? Like, everyone says they want to make a fucking impact, but do they really do it? Are they really in alignment? If they say they want to make an impact and want to help people, and then you're just doing some mundane job that you hate, and you try to convince yourself it's really helping people, but not in the way that you want to, and it has nothing to do with your real purpose. That's what this is all about. Like, reevaluating like who the fuck you are and what you're doing with what you're doing. That's why everything I get involved with, every coaching program, every event, like we have the Squire program coming up a week from today. I think, yeah, a week from today, June 1st, here in California. It's a father-son program, and Tyson and I are going there, and he's going to be speaking there to the kids, and we're going to both run them through the workouts and the full 15-hour day experience. And like, that is in alignment with my purpose 100%. Like, it is my like duty and obligation to help these other men to create those relationships with these young men, with their sons, so that we don't keep going in the direction we're going in as men and as husbands, as fathers, and as just a country. So everything that I do is in alignment with it. So I want you to take 30 seconds or 60 seconds here and kind of go through these right here, write them down. What do you got for your purpose? Like, what's really lighting you up? What really motivates your actions? What fuels your life? What lights a fire under your ass in the morning? And just take a couple minutes and go into that. All right, who's got something they want to share on their purpose? And again, I know this is going to take you a lot longer to do this, but we couldn't possibly do this in hour and a half, 2 hours here to go deep on every single one of these, but it's going to definitely leave you here with some breakthroughs and a direction. So who's got something quickly that they come up with and want to share?
Well, I'll share. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, that's going to be quick because I'm still trying to figure out my true purpose, but it kind of ties into what you're saying about fatherhood and leadership. But I absolutely love travel. That's what I live for. I used to work in the maritime industry, and it's like I constantly dream of working on a boat, being a pilot, operating a train, driving a truck over the road. And I love Uber driving, Lyft driving. But I just have, and it's just figure out how do I tie that into serving other people, really, because I feel like I feel lost on purpose because I'm not really doing enough for others, as in volunteer within the community or doing something, organizing a veterans get together group or handing out meals to the homeless, things like that. And so I feel like that a lot of my desires are just innately selfish, and that's part of the reason why I'm almost 45. Never got married, never had kids, because I didn't want to be that absentee father, because I wanted to be out there, constantly deploying in the fringe, on the road, out to sea constantly. And I didn't want that. And so now it's like, how do I learn how to build that? Because being a family, creating a family is a purpose in a sense. Providing, protecting that family is a purpose.
Oh
And
yeah.
so
I
it's
think-
like, how do I, so it's like, how do I take those passions and make it into a purpose that, supports, enhances, and enriches others?
those couple things you just mentioned about doing, have you done any of those things, or have you started any of those things?
As far as transportation,
Like
yeah,
the veterans group and the volunteering stuff and those things you were talking about. Have you done any of those?
no, I think about it. I haven't taken action. I hadn't got off my ass or pushed the button and actually did it. I've been involved as, like, say, as a participant, a spectator, a consumer, not as a leader, not as an operator, not as a coordinator, not the guy that goes up and say, "Hey, I'm going to make this happen. Who's with me?"
Yeah, hell yeah. So you
And
just gave the answer.
That
You gave the
eats
answer.
at me all the time. I feel like I fail as a as a man, as a leader, use that just, and that goes back to what I was saying, my lack of direction. How, where, when, how would you?
And pick one of those things that you just said. Pick one, just one, because you have a bunch of ideas. Pick one of them and be the one. Be the one that starts it. And however many people are there along in the beginning, doesn't matter. It could be one other person. It could be 3 other, 10. Who cares? And it'll build and grow into something else. But just thinking about it and saying, like, you have a good idea of what direction you want to do and some ideas you want to get started on, and those things will probably lead to the next thing and lead to the next thing. Those would be the building blocks. But just thinking about it and you gave the answer. You thought about it, but you never started. You never took the lead. You never put yourself out there. Like, this is your sign from the universe to make one of those fucking moves this week. Start putting one of those things into action. Make a bold move. And that's what we talked about in the beginning, not thinking about the perfect time and perfectionism, not thinking that it's impossible, not thinking that I don't have what it takes, not thinking that it's not reasonable or it's not rational or whatever else is not realistic. Like, fuck all that. Like, this is your sign to go and make a move on one of those things you just said. And you're going to go and figure out which one of those things that you mentioned is the first one you want to attack and start putting the pieces into place, start moving forward, taking the freaking action instead of just thinking on the sidelines. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're here for.
I do want to share on that my purpose thing, because that's such a great and powerful question. All these questions are great. And so my purpose, I believe, is to empower a generation of young men to discover their dignity, value, and worth. And that's why I started my own company called The Sparrow, based off Matthew 10:31. It says, "You are more valuable than many sparrows." Essentially using the pain of my life story, abandoned by my father, living in the projects, homeless, in and out of shelters, social outcast in high school, a nobody, a reject, a sparrow, right? The insignificant bird is insignificant, right? It's not like an eagle that has that's majestic and glory, has a lot of glory. So it's the sparrow. And so I am taking action. I think I told you this at the Muskogee. Taking action. I started Camp Date. I'm going to be, empowering young men, pretty much at-risk youth, quote unquote at-risk youth, where I'm pretty much adopting the things I've done at the Muskogee, things I've seen, from what you guys have been doing with the Squire programs, so on and so forth. I'm using those type of workouts. I'm blending that with education, introducing these young kids to entrepreneurs that I know, introducing them to a realtor that I know, teaching them the difference between owning versus renting, introducing them to medical professionals. I'm a respiratory therapist. Introducing them to medical professionals, nurses, critical care ICU doctors, teaching them basic life support, stop the bleed, signs and symptoms of a stroke, and just kind of blending all this and spiritual empowerment and character development, right? Because so I'm introducing you to all these things as a one-stop shop to try to kind of holistically empower young men to become the highest version of themselves. So my next camp date is July 27th. It's a one-day event, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And so, yeah, I'm excited about it, and I'm just taking action.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. I'll be in Denver for an event on July 27th, but in future events, you need some help or someone to come volunteer and help out, just let me know. I'll get out there and help and be part of it. That sounds awesome.
Hey, look, that would be awesome, because you definitely, man, oh, gosh, that would be awesome. So definitely, for sure. I'll let you know.
Hell yeah, sounds awesome. All right, let's keep this rolling. We're still on this purpose section, but I want you to think. Let's start talking about awareness and self-discovery about who you are. I want you to finish this statement right now. Get your pen out and your paper there. Don't even think. And I want you to write down the first thing that comes up when you hear this statement. Don't even think. Don't analyze it. You can't hesitate. You just write down one word or whatever, 1 or 2 words. Finish this statement right here. Life is a blank. Go, write it down. What do you got?
Blessing.
Adventure.
Dream.
There you go. Kenny Nania, all I said is write it down. And Kenny Nania had to break the rules and yell it out. Now I got all these motherfuckers yelling stuff out while other people are still writing. Leave it up to Kenny Nania, the old crusty bastard. Kenny Nania is a savage. If you don't know him, he's 61 years old, or I think 61 now.
They're too old for their hands to write, Steve.
Can't follow fucking instructions. I do these workouts in my house. I've had at least, I don't even know, 300 people come and work and train at my house in the last 4 years. And there's this one certain drill that not a single visitor that's come to the house has been able to complete. And I said, visitor, I've done it, but not one single visitor. And I've had some freaks come over here, and Nania comes here and does it with me, and he finishes it, and we both did it. And I can't even move my legs when we're done. And he starts walking down the hill, ready, thinking we're going to fucking do it again. That dude is a savage. Only person ever to complete this drill, 61 years old. Fucking crazy. Like, that just shows you that living up to your potential and what you actually are capable of when you're focused. So, all right. So what were some of the words we came up with? And since we all yelled them out anyway, I couldn't hear it because Nania started this fucking whole thing. What are some of the words? Who's got one?
Journey.
Journey.
Adventure.
Adventure.
Yeah.
Dream.
Dream.
Blessing.
Lesson.
Yeah.
What you make of it.
What you make of it. Awesome. And the answer to this question, I would expect those type of questions for people that would actually show up to a workshop like this. And when you start, if you ask it to some people, I've heard people say life is a struggle, life is a bitch, life is bullshit, life is hard. Like, it tells you a lot about the direction you're going and the mind frame you're in. And so hearing stuff like that from you guys is what would I expect, but it's fucking awesome to confirm that that's the direction you're coming with, because that will tell you a lot about what direction you're going and how you're able to deal with your potential and your purpose. And we're going to just go through some of these. I'm going to send you all these slides. Some of them we don't need to all go in all together on these values and priorities. So let's go to this. I want to go to this life assessment section next. And so there's going to be 10 sections here, or several, not 10 sections, but a bunch of sections on work, money, your living environment, your personal growth, health and fitness, community, family, and faith. And on each of these sections, I want you to just score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. So we'll go through them one by one. Move this other screen over. We're gonna go through these one by one and just give yourself a score of 1 to 10. That's it. Nothing else. So we're gonna fly through these pretty quick. I'll give them one by one. So let's start with work. And on work, you could take what's up there or just overall whatever work means to you. These questions up there aren't specific that you have to answer them or base it on them. It's just to give you an idea of what direction we're coming from, of just really what makes you satisfied or dissatisfied with the work that you're doing and your career path and what's most important for you in your job and how is that in alignment with your purpose. Just work overall, thinking of it from this direction of purpose. And when you go through this on your own, you can answer all these and write them all out, but just give yourself a score on your work life right now, where you're at, 1 to 10. Then let's go to money, 1 to 10, a score on where you're at when it comes to your money, your financial situation, like, and where are you at when it comes to money? Again, just 1 to 10. We don't worry about the questions in there. Those are for you to go over on your own afterwards. What about your living environment? Just your arrangement, where you're at, like the location, the energy of where you live, the city, the type of house you're in, the neighborhood you're in, the neighbors you have, who you live with, who you live near. What's the inside of your house like, the energy that you bring, the way that your environment is. So just give that living environment a score 1 to 10. How it is in alignment with your purpose is kind of how you should be thinking about these. What about your personal growth? How are you working on your personal growth, and what's most important to you right now when it comes to your growth? The skills that you have, skills and areas of expertise that you have and that you're working on them. Just give yourself a score 1 to 10 on personal growth. Then your health, fitness, recreation, your self-care, however the hell you want to call it. Give yourself a score on 1 to 10 on that also. And just really, how's your overall health, fitness, and nutrition. Then as you go through this later, you see these other questions. Don't really worry about them right now. You're just giving it a scoring for that. But it's going to just ask you some questions on that you'll have in these slides for you to go deeper into each of these. Then just community, like meaning your community, the people around you, the men you're surrounding yourself around, like how satisfied are you with the community around you, the social life you have? Are you surrounded by other men enough who are going to call you out in your bullshit and make sure you're in alignment, or a spouse or a partner or friends, neighbors, whatever, just the community, the people that you surround yourself with. Give that a score on 1 to 10. And then let's go even deeper in, and now just family. What's your family situation? Or is it where you want to be? Like with me and my brothers and sisters, I'm pretty fine not being so close to them, because now you have so much of your own shit to deal with. Now I have my own kids that, like, that's my primary thing I need to focus on. If I can make some of those better in the process, awesome, but that is not my priority. So when it comes to you, what is the direction you want for your family? Maybe you do want to rekindle a relationship with a parent that you don't talk to, or a sibling. That's up to you, whatever, but just give yourself a score overall in the area of your family. And then again, those questions in there for you to go deeper in afterwards. Then your faith, and whatever your religion is, whatever your faith is, whatever your beliefs are, what is just your score on in that area, 1 to 10. So here's what I want you to think now that you did 1 to 10. What stands out to you the most out of those scores, and what you see with the highest scores and with the lowest scores? And these are, again, some reflections for you to go on your own afterwards, but we could dive into some of it right now. And what are some of the lowest scores, or what stands out to you when you look at those scores? Who's got something that just after you're looking at those scores, like, all right, you haven't thought about it, maybe it stands out? Tom Lemire, what do you got?
Yeah, the one where you said where you live. A few years back, I moved from Jersey to Palm Beach, Florida. I should have moved 20 years ago. And you brought it up earlier about, like, should you have moved? Should you do all these things and forget everybody else? I had to forget everybody's fucking judgment, my family, some of my best friends. I was like, fuck it. I bought this house that I'm standing in right now. There's palm trees in the backyard, a pool. Game changer. So that was one of the biggest ones. One of the lowest ones is I don't make a bad wage, but I want to make, like, the sky's the limit for anybody's money can go. And sometimes I hold myself back because maybe I got the golden handcuffs, because it's kind of fucked up, because I work for the government. I'm in the Air Force. I do all these things, and I've been starting my own things, but I'll hold those back because I have, like, a pretty good salary and all that. So it's kind of fucked up. Like, because I have a pretty decent job, it's screwing my brain up to push more to get more. So it's almost like, let's just fucking quit this shit and do this. So, like, my money, although it's not bad, it can go way higher. So that's, like, one of my lowest.
Oh yeah, no, awesome. And the environment, and changing the environment, what a game changer it sounds like. And safety and security leads to complacency. What safety and security also leads to is sacrificing your goals, your dreams, your potential, and even your purpose. Safety and security men will sacrifice their fucking purpose because of safety and security. Feel safe and secure. This is good enough. Why would I rock the boat? Why would I change anything up? Again, that's not saying to go make some bold, far end of the spectrum decision over here, but it means don't be so stuck on the other end. Safety and security is a killer of a lot of men. They just are satisfied, and they're stuck in a cubicle of life, and instead of going after what the hell their real goals and dreams are. And it's easy to say, of course, it takes hard fucking work. It takes some big ass balls, but it takes some bold moves and big risks. But safety and security, it leads to complacency. And in the military, it's saying complacency kills. So thanks for sharing it. That's freaking awesome. And especially about changing the environment. That's huge. Same thing for us, leaving New York and coming to California. I mean, we left one communist state and came to another communist state, but that's besides the fact that at least if I'm going to live in a communist state, it's going to be under fucking palm trees and sunny all year round and whatever. So we love it here. All right. So let's keep on rolling. Still got a good amount to get to. So then we have a section on passion, really just knowing what you're passionate about, what motivates you, what lights you the hell up, what brings you energy in this life. When you wake up in the morning, where it's not hard to get up, whether you had 2 hours of sleep or 10 hours of sleep, think about these questions here. Like, and when it comes to energy overall, like, what are the things that you just can't wait to do every day. But then also on the flip side, what are the things that are draining your energy? So really what's just a quick version of it is what's giving you energy and what is zapping your energy? What's de-energizing you? What's fucking taking it away and sucking the lifeblood out of you? So I think that's one. And again, you don't need to stop and write all these all out right now. Who has something at the top of their head that just know it drains your fucking energy? It's not helping you move towards that goal, those goals and that purpose that you have. Larry Goodwin, that was a quick one. So what you got?
Toxic boss.
Toxic boss.
Yeah, I work in the news business. I have a goal, I have a dream for being a sportscaster. I graduated school in July of 2022. My first gig is in news, and news is difficult. I'm not a newsman. News can be depressing. News can be hard. It can be boring. It's a good learning curve. But working for somebody who's toxic, who doesn't support you and takes your passion out of it, it's very, very stressful and very frustrating. So a toxic boss, number one for me.
Oh yeah, and what do you do about that? Have you done anything about it? What steps have you taken to deal with having that toxic boss?
I mean, I try to, I'm on a different shift now, so I don't see her as much, but I've talked to our VP about that a little bit, and that didn't really get me anywhere, but I just keep on doing my thing. I keep on showing up. I keep on putting in the work. I keep trying to surround myself with the people at my job that are positive, that are helping me grow and help become a future and better news reporter and sports reporter. And again, just keep showing up and doing my thing, and just try to avoid that person as much as possible, and just try to please everybody else and get my work done and get it done on time and do a great job for them. So.
And I'm sure it sounds like you are doing excellent work. That's the first thing is who cares what this, even a boss, they probably a lot of times fear someone's motivation and skills and excellence and whatever else. Like you've seen that before, try to suppress it. And it goes back to what we talked about before about the haters and about the thick skin and not letting that stuff affect you and just continuing to know what your purpose is and continue being fucking awesome. But when you're in a situation that you don't like, you could either continue dealing with it and do nothing about it. You can take that situation and learn to weaponize it and have a reframe it, have a different perspective about it, or you change your fucking situation completely. So it sounds like you're learning to deal with it and weaponize it and reframe it to not let it affect you. So you're in that stage, and eventually you decide from there where it needs to go if it's holding you back your growth. But that's a perfect example right there. So let's keep this rolling, and we're talking about fulfillment. I want to get into the section on creating your ideal life, and that's kind of what we're building up to. But when it comes to fulfillment, like, you need to know what is, again, lighting you up. What does fulfill you? What does fulfillment even mean to you? What does success mean to you? Like, what's been some of the most satisfying things you've done, and what made it so fulfilling? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. And what gives you that satisfaction when you're done it? Like, what accomplishment when you're done is like, all right, you lay your head on your pillow at night. You're like, that was a fulfilling day. That was a day where I'm living out my purpose. Like, asking these types of questions. And again, we're not going to go through every single one of these. We'd be here for hours and hours of all these questions, but you are going to get all this information. But I just wanted to start cracking the surface on what really is fulfillment to you. Like, what is a day of fulfillment for you? And the what's most important in life. And that leads to what is fulfilling to you. That's just the same, that similar ideas. Like, what is the most important thing to you in life right now? And your values, and what are your values, and are you living according to those values? And is all this in alignment with this purpose that we're starting to now unravel and uncover? And like, what do you see when you think of the most important shit in your life? Let someone back in that got booted out. And what does success and fulfillment look like to you? What's most important in your life? And this is building up to these other sections we're getting to. Like, let's think of now dreams and desires. First, what is the cost if you don't go after what these goals and these dreams that we're starting to think about, this purpose-driven life, a purpose-driven man? What is the cost of it, of not pursuing it? Who on the top of their head can think of, all right, if I don't go after and start living this life of purpose, in alignment with these goals and these dreams and this ideal lifestyle I want to live, what is the cost of not going after it? And I'll say it first. The cost of mine is My son goes and decides he wants to go start a business in some other country. My daughter's going to go and work on a farm somewhere with animals in a different state. And me and my wife, we see our kids a few times a year if they feel like they have time and they're not too busy to come home for the holidays. That's the cost of me not going after and showing up the way I need to fucking show up every day. And just thinking that fucking makes me sick in my stomach right now, thinking of that situation. Like, knowing the cost of not going after it makes it so easy to fucking go after it. Like, thinking of that situation, like basically turning my family into my current family into my family as a childhood, how we all are just scattered and not as close as a family of six. Imagine a family of six that's tight knit, like building your own fucking army there. So what is the cost? Who on the top of the head can think of what is the Vikram? What do you got?
Yeah, man, like if I don't make some serious changes, not only when I keep the cycle of hurting really great women that just want to love and support me, but I'm going to be alone. You know, I just fucked up a relationship with a really nice human being that, you know, today's her birthday, and I'm sitting here talking to you fuckers instead of doing stuff with her. And it's because I keep going down that path. You know, I went to jail because I trashed an ex-girlfriend's house and I spent 30 nights in, you know, detention camp. And every morning I had to check myself out, check myself in, check myself out, check myself in. And when I got out, it hurt, but I didn't do the work. So I've kept that path going for the last 10 years, and now I'm 42. I'm going to be 43, and the only thing that my family worries about, my grandma, my 85-year-old grandma that's alone on her farm taking care of her 70-year-old loser son, is he's going to end up like him. That's her number one fear, is that he's got all the charisma, all the gifts, all the knowledge. He can get people to love him in a minute, outside of Steve at the Project 002. And I'm going to be alone. And I'm going to be fucking not a great dad. And I'm going to look at everybody else's kids, and I'm going to be the weird dude playing with everybody else's kids, because I never loved myself enough to actually go after something. Because like, all the money in the world means nothing when you come home and all you do is cry.
Yeah, and I think it is possible for a man to find his purpose and be a fatherly figure without kids. But I think a huge part of a man's purpose is having kids and being a father. And if he doesn't, is then at least being a father to other young men and being a leader and a mentor to other men. If he can't, it's a harder way to find the purpose. But having kids, and then especially even having sons, is to me the deepest purpose of man. And yeah, hearing you think about saying, all right, I'm going to get to the point where I can't even have that shit is fucking, it's tough. And it makes me sick to my stomach hearing you say that, the same way I did about thinking about, if I don't do what I need to do, where is it going to lead me to? And that's why we have to think this darkness sometimes, like, all right, what is the cost of not doing this? Like, yeah, we could talk about all the good stuff and what we want and the rainbows and fucking sunshines, but what if I don't go after this? And sometimes thinking about that, thinking of that situation, that worst case scenario, it makes it fucking easy to get up in the morning. It makes it easy to fucking start hustling and grinding, doing the shit you're supposed to be doing. It makes it easy to bounce off the bullshit and the negativity from other people. Once you really attach that to the purpose of what you're after, you become bullshit bulletproof when you really can know what your meaning is, what your purpose is, but then also know what is the cost of not going after this? What's the consequences of not going after this? Like when I was doing personal training, I had this one woman and she had like 50, 60 pounds to lose. And she's sitting there crying in my office in a sales consultation. And I said, Susie, what's it going to be like? What's life going to be like in 10 years if you don't do anything about this? Start doing something about this right now. What's life? Paint me a picture of 10 years from now. And she said she would be, if divorced, her kids would be ashamed of her and not want to like her to drop them off at school and be too embarrassed of her because she's fat. If that wasn't the worst case scenario, she said maybe she's gonna freaking off herself. Like, holy fuck, knowing the consequence And if you don't do something about this and you don't start changing your fucking ways, is a powerful thing. Like, fuck, that's enough to hear shit like that, to rally the fucking troops and start doing something about it and getting up and getting after it and stop bullshitting and stop fucking half-assing as a man when you know, like everything we're talking about, you have this potential, learning what you're fucking, knowing what you already have you know you have the fucking potential as a man, you know you have these superpowers and strength as a man, you know what you have a fucking passion for, and you know what the fucking purpose is that you're after. Like, this is how you become bullshit bulletproof. This is how you become a purpose-driven man and avoid that consequences of not going after it. It's a fucking high cost of not going after it. Average, mediocre, good enough, safe, safety, security, rational, realistic, the normal, the possible, all of that is 1,000 times fucking harder to live with as a man than bold, risky, out there, awesome, above average, fucking extraordinary. All that other shit is much fucking hard. It sounds easier. Safety and security sounds easier, but that shit is fucking harder because it's sacrificing your legacy that you're looking to leave as a man. So that's why we start with that before we even talk about, all right, now that I know what's the cost of not doing it and what's going to hold me back. And again, you're going to have all these files. So don't worry that I'm flying through some of these. I just don't want this to take too much of your time, but what's it going to look like if you don't go after it, and knowing what those barriers are that are holding you back. And someone mentioned it before, serving from your suffering, taking your suffering in life and use it as a superpower. Like, that's the way I think about when I was a kid. It was a horrible childhood. It was not fulfilling. And I take that suffering of being left alone and being a ghost and being a nobody, and I take that suffering and I turn it into a superpower. I could be alone now and create a fucking business alone in a hotel room because I'm just used to being alone. So I'm going to take that suffering and use it as a superpower. I'm going to take the suffering of not thinking highly of myself and use it as a superpower that now I don't give a shit. Like, what more? I call it the 8 Mile effect. Like, I just did watch part of this, the movie 8 Mile with Eminem with my son just yesterday, just for this point exactly. At the end, the final like rap battle or whatever, and he's ready to start doing his part. And if you haven't seen the movie, and he goes out there and basically he knows what the other dude is going to say about him. He knows the other dude's game plan, and he just goes and says, yeah, you freaking gangbang my girlfriend. Yeah, you jumped me. Yeah, my mother's a crackhead, and all this other stuff. There's nothing left they could say about him. He knows who he is. He knows where he came from. He take the suffering and turn it into a superpower. What more can someone say to you? That's why I wear 2 different color shoes. What more could someone say to me? I'm already walking around like a fucking idiot. So you can't put me any lower down. Now I have nowhere to go up. Nothing can affect me. Nothing can penetrate my being my freak self. So taking that suffering and turning it into a superpower, learning the lessons from it and turning it into a superpower. And turning that then into what are those big dreams you have. And we're going to go into we already kind of touched on this already. Like, what are the big dreams you have? Like, some of the bigger, bolder dreams you have. What do you want that seems so far off and impossible? We're talking about the big ones. The if you had unlimited resources and couldn't fail, what would you set out to do? And it is the dream that you're like almost afraid to even talk about because it seems so stupid or unrealistic. And then going even fucking deeper than that. That's what living on the edge as a man. Like, when you start thinking this way, I'm living on the edge every day, not over the edge, but on the edge. It keeps me fucking sharp. I have whatever stress or anxiety or whatever else you want to call it. That creeps in there, but I fucking weaponize that and use that for energy, for fuel, for fucking, I take the rage and weaponize it. I take the violence and weaponize it. And then think about the fun dreams that you want. This is all building up to the work that we're going to do here in a second. And what are now some of just the experiences that you want to have, the fun stuff, the superficial stuff when it comes to your dreams and your lifestyle and your goals? Because you have those big serious ones. We also need to not forget how to have fun. Here's the thing men fucking forgot to do. They forgot how to fucking have fun, not take shit so serious, not be so fucking rigid. Like people see me on the internet, they only see a clip of like 15 seconds of me just being an asshole, yelling at someone that's my job to do for those 15 fucking seconds. You wouldn't believe how much fun and laughing and shit talking and just sarcasm goes on throughout my day. It's like 80% of my fucking day. Like we just are just having fun with my kids, with my family, with clients, with friends and neighbors, just talking shit, having fun, having a blast, creating a life you don't need a vacation from. Like men forgot how to have fun. We get so caught up in the goals and in the process and what our responsibilities are and our rational, realistic expectations. We forgot how to fucking have fun. Like if you're missing out on fun, like I will give up money for fun. I will give up money for experiences any fucking day. Yeah, I still want to make a shitload of money. Don't get me wrong. But we forgot how to have fun. Like learn how to have fun again. Be a fucking kid. Be a boy. Like my favorite part of the day, every day we have a time. We just go outside, just dog time. We just call it dog time. Me and usually the whole family, but at least me and my son, we go outside with just the dogs and we're just throwing the ball for them, fighting with them, wrestling with them, training them. Then we'll go maybe in the jump in the pool with them. We're out just in the yard. We're just in an empty yard with some nasty fucking spit covered dog toys. And we're out there for like 30 to 60 minutes a day. And that's like the best part of the fucking day. I'm not doing any work. It's just totally detached. I'm with my family. We're just talking shit, throwing stuff around, like training the dogs. They fucked up my elbow because I was training them to attack, and the little puppy, little pit bull fucking took it a little too serious and almost ripped my arm off. My elbow's so fucked up right now, but it's worth it. We're out there having a freaking blast. Like, have fun again. Don't forget how to laugh. Like, no one wants to be your women or your wife or your kids don't want to be around someone who's just rigid all the time. Yeah, we want to be fucking disciplined and the leader, but they want to be around someone who's fucking fun, who's making them laugh, who's not taking shit so serious, who knows how to, like, I'll be at a motherfucker's funeral and I'll crack a joke. Like, that's just the way I have to be because it helps you get through shit. You need to have a sense of humor. Like, you have to have fun in life. Don't forget, as a man, how to have fun or you start fucking losing yourself. So keep that in mind. So we're going to fly through now on the legacy side of things. Again, all this is tying into what we've been talking about. So these are just some specific questions for you to go through, thinking about your legacy. And for me, legacy is today. My legacy is today. Yeah, I could say that I want that whole compound that I'm talking about, that whole village of my family and everyone living together. I could talk about that, but that's still far out in the future. So I can't make that my legacy. My legacy has to be right now, today, because I could go get run over by a fucking truck today, or sniped out by one of those fucking haters can come fucking hunt me down from the internet and just take me out. Who knows? But today could be your last day. So I'm going to live every day. My legacy is today. My legacy is this moment. My legacy is the time I'm going to go and play with the dogs outside today. We're going to do a military obstacle course today. Just me and my two kids at a ranch because my wife is at a CCW gun course that she's taken. So she's there all day. Me and the kids are going to do an obstacle course over at the ranch here in California. Like, that's my legacy. That moment at the ranch today is my entire legacy. Like, that's it. So I can look my kids in the face every day. And I asked my son this just a couple of weeks ago. I said, have I shown you enough? Have I taught you enough that if I die today, would you at least have enough of a foundation to be a good man and be the man that you think you're supposed to be and be a purpose-driven man? And he said, hell yes, he would. Of course, I don't want to be. I still have much more to teach him and much more experiences to have together. But that's why I need to make my legacy every fucking day as a man and not just think about these dreams and these far off things. Yeah, you want to connect to them and know what they are, but you need to realize that today, this minute, like, don't stop fucking waiting. That's what we wait when times are perfect, procrastination, all this other stuff. So now we're going to put it in this final section. This is the last real section here that we're going to work on, is talking about your ideal future. I want you to think about what is the ideal freedom lifestyle that you want to live. Perfect world. This is what you want that lifestyle to be like. And where do you want to be? And whatever, I put 3 to 6 months just to say it as a short term, but whatever, 5 years from now, 1 year from now, whatever time frame, doesn't matter. What is the best possible outcome that you can think of in this lifestyle you want to live? Like, what is this lifestyle? And I want you to first just get the overall picture of, like, what is it? But now I want you to go deeper into it. And let's say you're going after it. Paint the picture of exactly what's going on. Like you're in that future right now. What is going on? What does a typical day look like? That's the main thing. What does your day-to-day life look like? Because you want to create this life you don't need a vacation from. So what does that typical day in this ideal future look like? What's around you? What's your schedule? What kind of work are you doing? What kind of people are you around? We're going to write some of this down right now, whatever pops in your head. So start thinking about it. Obviously, you're not going to be able to go so deep like all this other stuff right now, and you will go deeper later, but be specific. What's the setting like? Where are you sitting? Who are you meeting with? How are you talking? What are you talking about? What is the goals you've accomplished? What's around you? What do you see? What do you vision? Like, paint me the picture. What's going on in that experience, in that situation? And I want you to take 2-3 minutes right now and just start thinking about that. What is all like this slide right here is the main one to really base it off of. But then after that, after you write all that down, I want you to write down why is that the ideal future you want. So this one take a little longer, whatever, 2-3 minutes here. I'll give you to go and do it, and then we'll jump back in. And this is the last section, so we'll wrap it up. So we're not here too long. We just have a couple of finishing things to go through, but take 2 to 3 minutes, a little longer if you need it, whatever you need. What does that ideal future look like? Start going into detail, whatever pops your head. Just let it fucking flow. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to go deeper on this later on your own and create this ideal future. Let's see what you come up with. Just get to work, write it out, and we'll check in on it in 2 minutes. And again, I know it's not going to be perfect and you're going to go deeper in this on your own, but just a overview probably you came up with. Who's got a quick picture of what this ideal future and ideal lifestyle looks like and their kind of day-to-day of where they want to be, where they should be, where they need to be and fucking deserve to be? Who's got a quick overview picture of what it looks like?
Steve, I'll jump in here. So mine is creating a family experience that is memorable, having time freedom, financial freedom, home lifing. Take this weekend, for example, being able to, go up to the lake, enjoy time with the extended family, be able to still get after it as a family for Monday, Memorial Day, running the Murph Challenge, in the gym, having everybody participate in that with the family and just creating those memories.
Awesome. Who else has a vivid picture of the ideal life that you're looking to even go after, that maybe you're not even there yet, but you know what it is and you know what you have an idea of what the lifestyle looks like that you want?
Yeah, I'll jump in, Steve. Be big time in my career, live large. Money is no factor. I'm hanging out on the beach in Miami, Florida. I'm hanging out on the beach, San Diego, California, wherever that may be, playing with my kids, watching them enjoy life, hanging out with game changers, different difference makers, people who are positive, people who have their shit together and get work done every day. Buy whatever I want, travel, no stress, things like that.
Oh yeah, that's a good start. And again, you'll go much deeper into that. How much, what percent of that ideal life, if you really broke it down and went deep into detail of exactly what that looks like and the lifestyle, money that you want and the experiences, what percentage do you say you're living that right now?
Maybe 2.
So we got some fucking work to do, but that's the whole point of this. Hell yeah, I'd like to know what it is and see what the changes are that need to be made. Who else has a good picture, a good starting point at least of the ideal future? Think about in the future, that lifestyle, that day-to-day. Who's got something about the day-to-day? What does your day-to-day look like in that ideal future? Who has an idea of what that looks like?
I can hit you with that, Steve.
Let's hear it.
So it's waking up when I want to wake up, not because I feel like I'm under a gun to wake up. You know, like my uncle wakes up at 3 o'clock or he wakes up at 7 o'clock. Only it's 3 o'clock because he's excited. He's 75. He's a multi-billionaire. He loves what he does. But then, you know, if his wife says, hang with me, he does. Right. So the choice to be able to do those things, to be able to get back on the bike and ride up the hills without pain, to get up and get after it with the team, right, to impact their lives, right, because ultimately the more impact I have with my team, the more impact we have with the world. So getting after it in that regards, and then being able to just say, hey, 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, the kids have an event, we're out, we're done, like put the computer away and be able to actually confidently, comfortably put it away and not have the stress. You know, like went on a vacation last weekend and I didn't take my computer and I didn't think about anything. And it felt really, really good. So having the choice, I think for me, the daily activities is having the choice, going to the gym when I want to go to the gym, not early in the morning, late at night, because I feel like that's the only time that I have available. So those are some of the, those are what I would like my life to look like.
Oh yeah, and that's awesome. And people don't think that, like, and that's the kind of thing I'm looking for, like the day to day. I was writing down. You wrote, "Wake up when I want to wake up, not feel like there's a fire lit on my ass, like I have to wake up." And that's what we're talking about: living the life you don't need a vacation from, and living an ideal future. That seems impossible to most people. They think, "No, I have to get up at 5 a.m." Or Jocko says, "I have to get up at 4 a.m., so I got to get up at 4 a.m." or whatever. They think that they have to do that in order to be successful. If I told you, you'd think I was crazy. What day, Tyson? What's the freak night we had last week? Last Thursday or last Friday, I woke up at what? 9:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. You wouldn't think it's a fucking shock. We woke up, but we did because we chose on Thursday to stay up till 4 to 5 a.m. We do this thing once a month where we kind of pick a different project we're working on. We call it Freak Night. We work, like, grind it out, kill time, working on this project together for like 3-4 hours. We take a break, play some video games for an hour. Then we work for another 4 to 5 hours, take another break for an hour. We were up to like 4 or I think like 5:30 a.m. So I didn't get up till 9:30 that day, the next day. But because we chose to do that, because I don't have to wait. I want to live a 9 to 5 lifestyle. And if I don't have a 9 to 5 job, why would I live a 9 to 5 lifestyle? We've created this whole kill, skill, chill and schedule that we have. And that was a chill day. Chill day, we don't set an alarm. And on a chill night, we go to sleep whenever we created that lifestyle. So I love that you said that and realize it is possible, because I literally do that. People think they have to wake up 4 a.m. every day. And maybe that is for some people. And for a while you do have to sometimes, but create the lifestyle you don't need a vacation from, where you can decide, like, all right, this day is going to be our kill day. We're going to be grinding it all day, but now we earned it. We're having a chill day tomorrow. And that's what, like, Fridays, for Fridays, us every Friday is just a chill day. I don't put anything on the calendar. I don't put anything on the schedule. And each day has a purpose, has an intention. It's exactly what you said. So don't think that that's impossible. It is, and you've seen it from an example from someone else, and a billionaire, and I'm just a regular dude that makes it possible also. So you figure out what this ideal future is, and then you put the pieces into place to be able to live that way, because I'm the same way. We just realized, because I would get up at 4 or 5 a.m., 7 days a week for years doing it, and then realizing I don't have a 9 to 5 job. So why am I living in this 9 to 5 lifestyle? My kids don't go to school and we would treat the week like they were still in school because they're homeschooled. We don't have weekends anymore. Sometimes we decide our weekend is on Wednesday and Thursday because that's the way our schedule works out, and that's our fucking weekend. Like, create that lifestyle that fits you and your personality, your goals, your agenda, your schedule, your family, your life, and your just legacy that you want to have, and your purpose is what it's all about. So I love that you went to that direction for the day-to-day, and that's what we're looking for. Anyone else have a quick overview of what that ideal future looks like in that picture is painted like of your ideal future? Let's get one more. Who haven't we heard from? Who's got some stuff of where the direction they're looking to go in?
So I've got one is kind of twofold, but my future that I envisioned was actually my past that I wasn't able to continue. So to kind of elaborate, going back to my current job, I work as a communications technician, and I've only been doing that for 5 years. I wish I would have gotten into it when I was much younger. So basically, I travel around my previous company back in Austin. We travel around the country, basically building up new communications data rooms for news stations and sports arenas. So, like for instance, back in January 2020. I was on a 5-month project in Vegas, building up the new UFC Apex Performance Center, building up the new production control room and everything. And so wake up, in a nice Marriott hotel room. When I was living in my buddy's crappy garage room, hardly paying rent, but every morning I get to wake up in a beautiful hotel room, get out, we ride out to the UFC Apex, seeing the Vegas skyline. We get off. Maybe we get off, have a little fun with that, go to some shows, and didn't make a lot of money, but it's good enough, sustainable for a single male. And then I enjoyed it every single day. I loved what I was doing. I loved the experience I was having. That it was a couple of months before COVID messed things up, being in Vegas, and then knowing the next few months, we'll be in Tampa, working on, say, like the Buccaneers Stadium. Things like that, and that's something that I would have liked to gotten into, but I'm not gonna make millions doing it. I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be able to have a sustainable family life, on the road like that. Going back to what we were saying, I did not want to be that absentee, father. Mm-hmm. That is what I dream about still. That's the thing that gets me excited, and so going back to being on a ship, out to sea for 3-4 months, then having 2 months to spend in Brazil, exploring Brazil, traveling around India, all around the Indian coast, hiking Mount Kilimanjaro, things like that. So I'm basically trying to recreate my past to project my future.
Oh yeah, and it's also then prioritizing, all right, how much of this is possible with the type of lifestyle I want to live, and combining them all together. That's why we're doing this work. But yeah, there's some awesome stuff in there, awesome ideas in there that you're thinking of and you have. So this is the kind of things we're talking about. So kind of bringing this full circle, we kind of started off with your potential, with your passion, with your superpowers, your strengths, taking your fears and frustrations and your suffering and turning it into a superpower to discover and uncover this purpose, to create this ideal lifestyle. And that's what the purpose of this all is to help you put the pieces into place and have some direction and have the tools and the kind of knowledge to create this ideal future that you're looking for, this ideal lifestyle. And again, I'm going to send all these slides out to you and make sure that you're going deeper into them. I'll send the full recording. I'll send the slides and the notes and everything out to you so you can go deeper on these, and you should go deeper onto these. And this is exactly what we work on in the Freak Father Alliance, which is a men's mentorship group coaching program. If you're looking to meet with a group of men like this literally every week on Zoom and then have daily interaction, that's what we do in the men's mentorship program. And I have a quick little recap of what that's about in the program that we do. And this is what we're talking about, igniting that spark of greatness inside of you to push you and pressure you and challenge you and get you to think differently. That's what we're looking to do here today. And that's what we do. If you're looking for more of this, this is what we do every single week. live on a call, and then every day in the online communities and the check-ins and the accountability that we have literally daily, 7 days a week, to see a whole new set of possibilities and encouraging you to just grow and change, and to call you out on your bullshit when you need to. Men need to be around other men who are going to call them out on their bullshit when they're bitching and complaining about stuff regularly, but doing nothing about it when you have the knowledge and the resources to do something about it, and you're not doing anything about it, but also to believe and support and inspire you, but also hold you accountable for what you do or fail to do. And yes, making you uncomfortable and ask you tough questions, get you to do things and accomplish things that you really didn't think were possible, like waking up when you want to wake up, rather than feeling like you have a fire lit under your ass that you have to do this and you have to get up at a certain time. But also to help you solve your problems, help you work through them. These are the things we work on every day to create this clear map. All right, here's where I want to go. All right, now step by step, this is what I need to do to start getting there. And like we just did together briefly, and you should go deeper into that, is paint that picture of what the outcome and the results will look like, and then start the daily disciplines and the habits and work on those together and develop those together to start making you better in all areas of the life. So you start seeing things differently from a whole new perspective. That's what we do in the Freak Father Alliance group coaching program. And it's to make you an even better husband, father, leader, entrepreneur, man, helps you get in the best shape of your life, because I'm going to tell you about the fitness program that's also included, help you make more money and increase productivity, time management, and also have more discipline, energy, confidence, and be that purpose-driven man that's actually taking action, not just thinking about shit and talking about shit, but actually doing it. But most importantly is also to create time freedom for your family, so you can create your own personal freak freedom lifestyle. So what's included is that weekly live accountability coaching sessions, monthly live follow-along workouts that we meet and do workouts together on Zoom. We do daily check-ins and accountability and interaction on our private communities, social communities. Plus, there's also a full time blocking course that's included, a full morning routine and nighttime routine, full access to course that's included. But also a huge thing that's included in this program is called the Infinite Freak Fitness Formula. And this is the workout program where literally you have a workout program included. There's a full membership site. You have a daily workouts and interaction on the workouts. It's literally called the last workout program I ever need, where there's thousands of follow along workouts, thousands of written up workouts, and unlimited amounts of even creating your own workouts. It's fully customized training program for yourself. All of that's included in the Freak Father Alliance. And normally it's $59.99 for 12 months, but for today, for being on this event, it's only $39.99. So that's 44% off of the regular, and that's for a full 12-month program. Or you could do $5.99 a month, which is a little more, but to do the 12 months is a lot less. And then if you have a spouse or partner that wants to join the women's program, they could also do that for 50% off, because my wife does a women's program. And then any kids you have of any age all join the kids program, because my son Tyson runs Freak Fit, which is a weekly fitness program for kids where he meets them every week on Zoom, runs them through a workout, and then also interacts with them daily on their own fitness and nutrition for kids. All that's included in the program. And again, that bonus of getting in on adding the full entire training program, which is sold separately at $197 a month, that's included into the full program. That's the Infinite Freak Fitness Formula with all the full upgrades to that. It's all included. It's the last workout program you ever need. And here's if you just wanted to do a single month or month to month for $5.99, or the 90 days or 12 month, you could just scan those codes. And again, I'll also send these all out to you, and you literally be on the next upcoming call this Tuesday. We'd get you up on the fitness program, onboarded starting today. You'd get locked in, you'd be set up for the entire year, and we get you rolling towards being this next level, kind of taking everything we started today and really deep dive and implementing it even more to make it that purpose-driven man who's working on getting in the best shape of your life and staying in that way forever, making more money than you thought it was capable of, and really most importantly, building time freedom for yourself and for your family, so you can start doing more of the things that you wanted to do. And then one other bonus, an additional bonus that's added, June 11th, we're starting a Freak Mode 40 Daily Discipline Habit Challenge that costs $197 to get into. Anyone who signs up for this today, the Action Taker bonus will get the 40-day, the 6-week transformation challenge completely free. And this is a full course, a habit building challenge course that we're doing a challenge along with it. That includes the coaching, the fitness program. They're going to get access into that 6-week Daily Discipline Habit Challenge completely for free. That's coming up. That's not even available to even purchase yet, but anyone who joins the Freak Father Alliance from this call, or even the people who couldn't make this call, will get this information, will get free access into that challenge. So this is the codes you could scan for the 12 months, or if you want to do a 90-day. And this is what we're all talking about in the Freak Father Alliance, is becoming that purpose-driven man, becoming the type of man that your son wants to become, the type of man your daughter wants to marry. And this is what we do on literally a daily basis in the program. So let's kind of wrap this up here. And I just want to open up if anyone has any questions or comments, questions about any of the coaching programs or anything else that we worked on today, anything to add in before we kind of sign off, or just final questions, we could dive into it. Kenny, Nania, what do you got?
Are these guys aware that part of your offering is your personal coaching, one-on-one coaching? I did not hear you mention that, but that's a huge part of your offering. I coached with you over many months, and I always say this, it was the best investment I ever made. And this seminar today is ongoing training for me, because I learned a lot of those things for you, but I cannot overstate the value of that personal coaching. And I would be happy to talk with any of these guys about my experience with that, but that's a huge thing. And I think you should mention that to these guys, that's available.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, Kenny did one-on-one coaching for several months. We met one-on-one. He wanted a little more individualized attention. So that was just kind of the next level. And that's similar to the coaching that goes on in the group programs. We do keep it fairly small, so they're getting those same type of results and attention in there in the Freak Father Alliance. And you don't have to be a father to join the Freak Father Alliance. It means you're a purpose-driven man, because all men are meant to be fathers in one way or the other, whether you're just a role model and mentor to the other men around you. So it's not like you have to be a father to join that. But yeah, Kenny's done coaching for several months, and that's had some massive freaking breakthroughs in all areas of life. And he's just a complete savage, been over my house a few times. So appreciate that. Anyone have any questions on any of the coaching programs or any of the purpose-driven man stuff we talked about today, or anything else before we kind of wrap things up? Awesome. All right. So I'll send out the recording on email this weekend. You'll get the recording of this, the entire recording, and all the slides, so you can go through. There was so much on there. Like if we literally went through each one of those and had you do them all right now, we'd be here we would need a whole weekend course to do this. So take the time, piece by piece, dig through that stuff, go through it on your own time, your own reflection. And if you want to get set up on the coaching, just send me a private message here. I see a couple messages coming in already, so I'll get you set up and onboard on the coaching. And if you need a little more information, that we could jump on the phone and talk about that too, and let you know how the coaching works out and how it breaks down. So if nothing else, we'll see you next time. We'll see you over on the social medias, and those of you getting in on the coaching program, we'll see you over there. So nothing else. Don't forget your purpose what your purpose is as a man. This is all about being a purpose-driven man, attaching to your purpose, letting that set the way and set the tone every fucking day, because your legacy is today. So start doing these things we talked about, start implementing them right now, today. I'll see you later. If you have any questions, reach out to me privately. And those of you getting set up on the coaching, I'll see you when we start when you're on the coaching calls this Tuesday. Thanks for jumping on, and I'll see you later.
Take care.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Respect.
Take care, fellas.